Hadouken!
On the subject of being much happy,
Yes.
kickboxing fans are getting very excited about the prodigal son, Badr Hari. Supposedly gonna put one on Rico Verhoeven, and some ticket agent in the Netherlands today, before I was on the way here, has put up on their website tickets for the two of them. How far are we to an actual date? You know a little bit what's going on than everyone else out there. How much can you share with us right now?
Well, I can share whatever you want, you know. What do you want to know? Does Badr want to fight Rico?
No,
Yes.
no. I don't want to. We know that
Yes.
because he's been pulled out. Of course, he wants to fight
You
him.
know, does Rico want to fight Badr? Of course he won't, because he's fighting nobody. You know, he wants to
Cement his legacy.
well, his legacy. Winning one heroic fight doesn't make you a legacy. You have to win more.
Yeah, but there's no one else. If he fights Badr, then he can say something. He's got something there in his history. When he fought Sammy Shields, he was too young and inexperienced. Badr fought Sammy Shields and beat him. You know, Badr fought everyone.
I think we fought Sammy Shield on the same age
Yeah.
that Rico
Shields,
fought.
Yeah.
Sammy Shield, and then we just knocked him out. I don't know. You tell me.
I have to YouTube it again. It's been a very long time.
Oh,
since
yeah, but you know these are just
Comparisons.
These are just facts. You know, I don't go by assumptions. I go by facts. And the thing is, you know, we are talking at this moment, you know, with Glory. You know, and we are far away. We are taking it step by step. Don't want to rush it. Don't want to oversee a problem. You know, like making a mistake. The thing is there a date set? Yes, there is, but it's not 19th of December. Why not? Simple. The Badr is not allowed to fight in Holland, so he cannot fight in Holland. And on 19th of December is Glory Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be on that show.
Yeah. I'm glad you cleared that one up for us. So it's either going to be before or after.
It's not like that, you know. It's the truth.
Cool. How is Badr? Is he doing things on his own? Because he's in Morocco, isn't he? Is he doing much, or is he just taking it easy for now?
What do you mean? Is he doing much?
Oh, I mean, from looking outside in, no one knows too much about what he's up to right now. Everyone knows that he was at Glory 31, but you know, there's no footage emerging of him, but you know, hitting the pads with you, any new footage and stuff like that. So
no, but there never is. You know, it's also when we were fighting Saki, we were training at the middle of the night.
yeah,
You know, and then nobody see Badr in the daytime in the gym, because we start training from 12 to 2, 3 o'clock in the evening, at night, sorry. And everybody was telling how good Saki was training and showing footage from internet. You know, we're just sitting there, so, okay, well, he's training very hard, you know, let's see what happens. And then
one of the best knockouts voted ever by Badr Hari is what happened.
yeah, well, you know, we just we were there and we were in shape, and that's what all that matters. You know, we give the people word for the money, and that can only be if both athletes are in a good shape. You know, and I think, in my opinion, you know, that's how it needs to be. You know, because if you are a father and you go to a show with your two sons or daughter and son, I don't know, and you have to pay a ticket for 75 euros, that means you're less 225 only to get in, you know. All the sandwiches mom has made and all the juices she bought, you know, the security look at it and said, oh, that's very nice, we're going to put it over there, you know, on a big pile with other sandwiches, so you need to buy a hamburger or a hot dog and some other beverages to steer it away. And so you out another 30 euros, you lose 25 euros on gasoline. So by then you are down let's say 280. From the 280, you know, you want to have maybe one more drink, and afterwards you're very happy. You go there and have something to eat, like a kebab or something. So you're out 300 at least. You know, well, 300 is a big gap out of the budget from a household. That means you've been going to your work for 3 days or 2 days or 4 days, and then for that only 1 day. And if you see two jokers, in my opinion, running out of gas after the second minute, you know, then what's your money worth for? Yeah. You know, you need to have two guys who go in there and going at each other. And if you don't want to do it, it's no problem. But then please stay away from.
Be 100% committed.
Yes, either you do or you don't. You know, that's my opinion. So that's why we're always in shape. You know, we want to be there and we want to fight. And then, you know, even if we are a little less in shape, we're just gonna bring some extra aggression or some extra, you know, willpower, you know, to satisfy the audience. And this is why he's so popular. Because, you know, whenever he's fighting, you don't know what he's going to do.
No.
You're not going to go away and say, okay, listen, let me get a round of drinks. No, you're going to sit there and watch. And I said, oh, yeah, you don't want to miss it. Even with the entrance, you don't know where he's coming from. Because people are watching this side and we're coming
and
from
it comes through the fans. Yeah.
Yes, you know. And this is so this is why he's apart from all the others, you know.
Yeah, he's a throwback in a way, and he's very much still an old school fighter in this new wave of the sport. One thing about Badr, one last question about Badr.
Yes.
When the Badr Hari that fought Ismail last year, that was a bloody good fight. When I rewatched it, it wasn't as bad as some people made out at the time. I think people just a bit too, when it comes to Badr Hari, because everyone remembers Badr Hari from 2008, 2012, they get overexcited whenever he gets back in the ring nowadays, which is a bit unfair. The Badr Hari that fought Ismail Lant at Akhmat, what percentage of that Badr Hari was the 2008, 2012 Badr Hari?
No, it's different. Look, if you come with age, you have to change your
strategy.
No, not your strategy, your fighting style. You know, it's simple. Bernard Hopkins, he was knocking out Oscar De La Hoya, is not the Bernard Hopkins who is on 48 becoming a world champion again. You know, instead of running around one another, you have to make the same. You have to make the same adjustment to put him against the ropes, but you have to do it in 9 steps instead of 15 or 20 steps. That's the difference. But if you look very closely, I don't know. Just winding up the facts again. Look, last time Hesdy Gerkes was pounding away on Ismail Lont. Before Jafar Wilnis was pounding away on Ismail Lont, kneeing him in the face, full punches in the face. He was still standing. Braddock Ederson Silva was pounding away on Ismail Lont. He was still standing.
Yeah.
Badr punched him one time, and he was on the floor. He got up, and for his sake, he was happy that the ropes were there. Otherwise, he was running backwards all the way to Rotterdam. And luckily for him, otherwise he would arrive right now. You know? And these are just facts, you know? And then all of a sudden they say, well, listen, he get one punch from Ismail Lont. But if you see, he was 122 kilos. He was big, he was massive, he was swinging out of movement, punching him full in the face. You know, on that face, you know, his nose went to the side. His bones, you know, I don't know what happened to his face from that one punch. But if he wasn't in a good condition, you would never stand up. But he just stand up at 6, looking at the referee at 8, says, okay, come on, let's get it on. Then we had to survive, of course. Yeah. Because it was still going in there. We had to go for another 30 seconds. We just did. He came back. And then, after 1 minute, he made the 4th 8 count. So the fight was over. Then let me know how many people you know put Ismail Lom to the floor.
Hang on. Benjamin did it. I saw the video the other night.
And Sergey Lashenko.
Yeah.
Well, you should better do your homework, man. Yeah, of course. I thought you were a fan, but yes, he did. And I don't know what it was in Germany, Super Combat final. Ismail Lom knocked Sergey Lashenko down. He stand up and then he knocked him out.
How many years ago is that now?
Oh,
Because he's had time off, hasn't he, as well?
He's dead.
No, Lond.
Oh, Lond. Okay, I thought you meant Lashenko.
No.
I don't know. It was 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
Then we won a car.
Pretty cool stuff. With a fighter's ability to recover in the ring, like when they get knocked down, is that more genetic or is it purely mind over matter? But Badr,
No,
he always had good recovery when he gets.
it's both. You know, you have to have the will to fight again. You know, you can do two things. If you're lying on the floor, you can say, okay, well, it's good like this. You know, I did my best. Or you can say, okay, listen, I have to stand up and fight back again. You know, yes, partly is this. The other side is the condition. You have to be in a good condition, otherwise you can't get up. Because giving punches take condition, but getting punches also take condition. Sorry, maybe more.
So for someone who's watching, who's say an upcoming fighter, an amateur, what would you recommend they do? Just don't ever neglect conditioning side of things.
No, conditioning is it's one of the 3 C's you can't get enough of. One is of course condition, cash, and Coca-Cola Light. And for the rest you can do without nothing. But you need to have condition, you know. I never saw one fighter who says, well, listen, I got more than enough condition, or I got too much. It doesn't exist.
Big part is mind over matter.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. The global state of kickboxing, we seem to be heading into a new, exciting era in the modern stage. And you've been around the sport for a very long time.
I hope so.
For most of your life. How do you see things right now shaping up? Across the board.
Yeah, well, listen. Now, there are new... back in the day, you know, afterwards, you know, the K1 was the summum. You know, if you fought there, if you were there, you know. But, as you know, they fucked it up. That's how easy it is. You know, then Glory came. And they're still in the game, luckily. They're still doing a good job. But they made some mistakes also in the beginning, you know, of the development, you know. Don't call it child disease, but, you know, everybody got his opinion on this one. And now, you know, more and more organizations will rise from nowhere, like we had in Dubai, like we had Legend, or now Respect FC, and also in China, you know, you got the WFL. You got Kunlun, you know, and you got also you know, Hero, something like that. You know, things are coming, you know, so that means there's going to be more than enough things to work, enough places to work, and hopefully we can develop in time a couple of more heroes. And if we do, then it's going to be better, you know. But the sport needs heroes, like any sport does. Every sport needs a hero. Doesn't matter which kind of sport you have, you know. And also, you know, you need to control it a bit. Like, you know, we had Sammy Shield. He was the I think he was one of the, or he is, one of the biggest martial arts guys there ever was. You know, you've seen fought Pancreas, UFC, Pride, K1 Heroes, Glory. He's been champion almost everywhere. But the only thing is, you know, he didn't get the X factor. You know, that's why we need more people with a little bit more X factor.
Characters.
Whether
they resonate people the right way or the wrong way, as long as they draw everyone's attention.
Yeah, well, the right way or the wrong way is also different. You know, what's right, what's wrong. You know, I think
pantomime villains, say, in the ring.
No, you have to listen. People has to be themselves. People has to be themselves. That's the problem. You know, you all put the fighters, you know, in and try to make them themselves. So if you got like a press conference with 12 fights, you hear 24 times the same thing. So
I'm trained hard. I'm ready for this. Yeah.
Yes, I'm trained hard already. I have much respect for my opponent. I hope tomorrow we get out of the ring safe and sound. And I don't know. Instead, I should say, well, listen, tomorrow I knock you 3 teeth out. I'll knock you out by the time you regain conscious, you know. I'll be out of the venue already. Things like this, you know.
Yeah, it helps to sell the sport.
You need to sell. Look, if you look at WWE, they have 3-4 times a week a show, sell between 12 and 20,000 tickets each show. A lot of people are walking around with a T-shirt, you know, and things like this. But why? Because every time there are coming fighters or athletes who are representing a part of the community. If you can say, well, listen, this guy attracts me, you know, because he represents the same. And I want to be like him. You know, so I'm going to be his fan. And that creates different kind of characters. And different kind of characters makes it interesting.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to watch it. Two of the same guys.
Yeah, the fighter being interesting is one thing, but what about the marketing of the promotion itself? Like K1, regardless of however they ended, the old K1 that is, they knew how to market. They did that pro wrestling style, the WWF way of they're not necessarily changing the fight. Like, for example, whether it's Overeem cooking horse meat in the kitchen, Peter Arts being, you know, a lumberjack, whatever, just showing more about that person. We don't get those stories being told about the fight.
Yeah, but if you're going to do these things a little bit more, and it doesn't need to cost a lot of money. You know, nowadays, you know, everybody got a good
a smartphone or something.
Yes, and so you can make a little movie about the characters, and yes, you know, but the first thing is they have to start with the fights. If the fights were very attractive and everybody was really enthusiastic, you know, once you go home, you say, oh, you saw this guy. No, you have to see this guy or this guy. He was, you know, out of this planet, you know, or you saw this KO, or you saw this guy coming back from that from that knockdown, or, you know, and then that's a marketing tool of its own. So we need more craftsmanship. Then we have to market them correctly, and after that, you know, people will come. People will watch because you want to see it live.
Yeah.
You want to see it live. When we fought Sammy Shield in the arena, 20,000 people were there waiting for us, and nobody left the seat. Everybody was there, you know, or yes, and you know, and then everybody went home. Well, if you were a Sammy Shields fan, well, you weren't that happy, but No, of course not. But you were there, and the atmosphere was incredible. You know, or when Melvin Manhoef was fighting Cyborg at Cage Rage. You know,
I'm built for this shit. I remember that. Everyone remembers that.
People were there.
Yeah, it was.
And then all of a sudden, you know, they start swinging away, and then the people, because it was built like this, and the people would come running down, and you know, and the air was the air was shifting, and there was enormous pressure on that cage. I can remember that, you know, and then, you know, when we finally won, you know, and Melvin, he just fall over, and Cyborg climbed and start hammering on his stomach. Well, listen, it took us for Melvin about 20 minutes, you know, to be, you know, back in the normal rhythm and everything. And you know, he needs to take a shower. And so 1 hour after, we passed by Cyborg's dressing room, and he was sitting there, and he just also gave it all. And Melvin went inside and said, "Hey, Cyborg, how you doing?" And Cyborg just only lifted his thumb and smiled, you know, and he was looking at that. He was lying there in a pile of vomit and blood, and you know, and it was just like, listen. And Melvin also, he tried to smile, but he was too tired. And then, you know, like these two athletes were just saying, "We did this."
Yeah.
No matter what, in that fight there were no winners and no losers. And then you can say, well, Cyborg lost. No, Cyborg went to Pride. And Melvin went to K1.
Yeah.
So they both won.
And that fight because of that fight, their names will live through the ages.
And that fight was becoming like the fight of the century for a long time. And then, you know, it was.
We've got this. We've got this. It's all right. Carry on.
We had the same thing in, you know, like he was in the top 5 or in the top 3 or in the top 2. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It's is it fair to say then that the people that run the organisations, there are too many suits and not enough kickboxing people, like who have seen it firsthand, like yourself? Well, there's a lot of money coming in for Glory.
No, but if there are too many people like myself, you know, it's because I'm more of a fan, you know, and
but a fan who knows what he's talking about and a very knowledgeable one who's been there from when it kicked off.
Yes, that's true. But sometimes some things I also don't oversee, like television marketing, and
it's not your thing.
Well, it's not my thing. I don't know enough about it.
But see, that's the thing. No. People find it hard to probably grasp that you feel that you don't know. And okay, it's interesting you say that, because the way you come across, people wouldn't think that when it comes to marketing or self promotion, I guess is the key word. It comes naturally to you. But then everyone's personality is different. Some people are a bit more quiet. Some people are a bit more reserved. Yes. Some people will talk a good game, but there's no substance to back it up. Whereas people like yourself have got a lot of passion, it comes through, and you've got the experience and knowledge.
Yeah, that's true, but you know, you also have to know the things you can do. You know, every people also got their limitations, and once you know your limitations, you know.
Work to your strengths.
Yes, well, you know these things.
Yeah, we learn as we get older, don't we? When we're younger, we think we could do anything and everything. As you get older, you realise, hang on, I'm not good at everything. I'll focus on what I'm good at, as opposed to trying to master a trade, as opposed to being a jack of all trades. Yes. That's probably the best way of putting it. But there's obviously been, like tonight, there was Gökhan's decision, which is, to put in one word, cheers mate, good night. There he is.
No, it's a jury sport, and in the jury means there are people. You have the rules, and you can apply those rules to. What do you say? You can apply those rules to your knowledge, but your knowledge is not my knowledge.
So it's education.
So,
The officials aren't being
yeah,
educated
well,
enough.
there's also like guys who walk forward, but it doesn't mean if you walk forward, you're a winner.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, and sometimes it's also hard. You know, you got like a few judges, you know, and they sit there all evening, you know, and they cannot concentrate enough. You know, because if you concentrate on the fight, you know, you're in that fight. You know, I also sometimes said, well, listen, maybe the judges have to watch it on a television screen outside of, without any noise.
Noise, yes.
Without any noise from the crowd. Sometimes nothing happened, the crowd starts screaming. And we say, hey, okay. And sometimes you also, well, how do you say, if you're a little bit tired, you know, your mind wanders off, you know, you're looking up here and there's something happening over there. These things also happen. I don't say it did tonight, but if...
No, you'd have to say it. I interviewed Jesse Saunders, who's a well-known official here in the UK, and he's worked in the Netherlands, and he said there were studies done by the International Muay Thai Board officials. They cover K1 rules as well. He said they did a study, and sound does affect a person's judging result. It's just one of those things. It's just in human nature.
Of course, as long as we work with humans, you know, these things will happen.
That's cool.
It's also, you know, it also happened with soccer. You know, now is the ball past the line or not? You know, now you got this computer figure it out. There are not 3 people at the side, but 4 or 5 people at the side. You know.
People see things differently.
Yes, they do.
What about the media and kickboxing? The media and MMA get along very well and have promoted MMA. Outside the Netherlands, what's your opinion on the media and kickboxing?
Well,
do you want me to switch this off?
No, of course
Okay.
not. I don't care. Sometimes it's like this, you know. It's if the sometimes they're right. Because, you know, if we cannot work together by ourselves, you know, why should the media be enthusiastic? But the thing they oversee is the fact that it is a very, very good sport. It's a very hard sport. There's almost not a sport in the world that's as hard and as primal as kickboxing. You know, you only have like a short and a pair of gloves, and the gloves are not to protect the opponent. No, the gloves are there to protect your hands so you can punch more and better and harder, and you know, and that's what the fighters want to do. And there are a lot of other things, you know, things that happened in each and every sport.
Yeah.
That, but most of it will be covered up. The only thing in kickboxing, you know, it keeps going on. You know, somebody has to go to a kickboxing for like 2 or 3 times, or maybe 5 months, you know, and he's been a soccer player for 10 years, and something happens in the street and said, well, it's formerly kickboxing.
Yeah, it's not fair. And look at Sepp Blatter. You know, Sepp Blatter, what he's done in football, and it's terrible. It's organised crime at an extremely high level on a world scale.
Yes.
And what if a kickboxer gets if one kickboxer has been involved in some degree of organised crime on a very low level, it makes the rest of us all bad? No, that's just nonsense. Because kickboxing, martial arts, has a positive influence. It changes people's lives for the better. It enhances that self-discipline. It gets kids off the street. Had Daniel Sam talking about the project he works on, at his gym to get help kids.
It's a very good project he's doing. And I'm all for that.
And even am I right in thinking, if I recall correctly, even Myrtle Groenhart was, when he came to your gym, he was a little bit of a bad boy in the street, and you were looking to when you came back shopping, you were going to give him one, but you got him in the gym and he never left.
No, it's true. And guys like Myrtle, normally I don't know what he would be doing in life at the moment. Probably be a plumber or something. But now he's even like an ambassador for some children's and some children organization, and put his neck on the line, that children needs to be more active in sport. It doesn't matter only kickboxing, he promotes a lot of sports because he's a sportsman. And he knows
he's a personal trainer as well, isn't he?
Yes, he also is. And he also knows what it's like to be walking on the street with no money in your pocket, with an empty stomach, and nothing to do. And he knows once that gets changed, and he gets a purpose in life, his life will be successful. Because you have to see Myrtle Groenhart is one of the few fighters, except Sammy Shield,
to win K1 and do something in glory.
To win K1 and glory, but Myrtle does it in 2 different weight classes.
Yeah.
He's also...
I like it when you pull up reporters on that they don't know about K1, who there's only 4 people who've done K1 and come into glory with something else, won something outside of K1. Because things like that get forgotten, and it shouldn't, because you fight 3 people in one night who are all the best in your weight class in the world. You deserve recognition.
Yes, of course he does. And then also, and that's also the shame about it, he didn't even get paid fully. So, because I don't know what they're doing, but it's not the K1 from nowadays, but because it's divided in K1 Global and K1 Grand Prix.
Yeah, K1 Japan, K1 Grand Prix, and stuff like that.
They still always like $150,000. They come up with some cheap excuse. And then they paid a lot of money to Burkau to fight, and then Burkau went out of the ring, and things like that.
But that shouldn't affect Myrtle's.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But it's just the thing is, if you are, making an outstanding. If you make an outstanding contribution to the sport, and and then they forget to give you
your rewards,
the reward, they give you only the half of it. And tell you not to. Yeah, well, please don't put it on the internet. Don't put it on this. Don't put it on social media. Well, okay, we didn't. And then they try to buy us off for a nearly 30 or 40,000, but we are entitled to 150. We said, well, we didn't fight 2 fights. We fought all the 3, including the fight before against Grigorian. I don't know if you saw how DPS took off to win that fight, to be like 2 rounds ahead, and almost coming out of wobbling, and then at the end of the, just came back, came up, over, and knocked him out. So, there's also things we have to deal with.
With a sort of newly branded, re-released K1, this shouldn't be happening again.
Well, I hope not. I hope not. But now also.
Because it's hard to also, but being international, it's hard to sue someone in a different country, a different continent. And that doesn't help. That doesn't help to resolve things.
Well, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that, but
If it was in Europe, it'd be easier. It's easier processes to make that fight.
No, also not.
No.
Because there's also a group in Spain, or
It gets too complicated.
Yeah, well, they still also need to pay. It's simple. They get subsidian. They are substitute. I don't know.
Subsidized?
Subsidized. Sorry, they are subsidized. So they got the money, but they only forgot to pay us. And I don't. And this is also things that made it's wrong. There should be some kind of law about it. I don't know. But okay, these things happen.
They happen, but they shouldn't. It's not fair. It's not right.
I know.
On the okay, look, it's easier for us to people might think we're bashing Japan because of their history. What about coming over back to the Western world? We all know that it's happened on a lower scale. That promotions and promoters don't always pay their fighters. But are things harmonious with the larger promotions? I mean, Glory had their problems 2-3 years ago. That well renowned, they had to cut people's pay and they downscaled operations in 2013. But is there anything happening with the Western world promotions that is
no?
Like that?
Well, listen, I just I guard myself a little bit for this. I only work with people I know, or most people I know. Or some other guy, is working with this. I said, well, listen, they are good guys. You can try it. That's how I guard myself and my fighters, of course, because these fighters, they go day in, day out, train 6 days a week, and for the only this 3 times 3 minutes, and then at the end of the day, they should get their reward. And if they don't get it, no, that's very bad.
It's not on. If someone does a job, pay them.
Okay, but these things, also happened with other athletes, like soccer players. This guy go bankrupt, and then come in another investor. Says, okay, I want to pay you only half, or I want to pay you this.
Yes,
these
true.
things also happen,
But the thing is, with fighting, it's an individual sport. There is a team around them. There's fighters live from the earnings of each fight.
Yes,
it's not like they're getting paid weekly or monthly.
No, and there's also some fighters, who get good payments, so they don't mind waiting a little bit. But there also have fighters who wait from fight to fight to fight.
It seems like it doesn't matter how many decades go by, the same mistakes, the same issues are still there.
I don't know if it's mistakes, it's like more a nature thing.
Oh.
Some people are just born that way.
Born bad, rotten eggs.
I don't know if they're born bad or they're rotten eggs.
It's an old saying.
They just don't want to pay.
Stingy mofos.
Yes.
Oh dear. It's great to have you in the country.
Thank you.
And it's great to catch up with you. Appreciate you making the time because, it's 3:00 and you're flying out for 4 hours and you must get this. Look, everyone wants to talk to you. I've been chasing you on Twitter for ages.
Yes, I know.
I know. No. Look, it's understandable.
I'm happy to give my peace of mind.
No, we appreciate it because there's hardly anyone who does say it how it is like you do.
Yeah, well, I don't care. But it is what it is. It isn't going to be any better or any worse. It is what it is.
Yeah, we're not open. This is what I mean. If I criticise a promotion or something, or decisions, or people, I say, look, we have to. It's not just putting the good out there. We have to be open about the thing, what's going wrong. Because how do we learn from mistakes? How do we improve? We don't. We hide what's going wrong. Nothing improves.
And that's why you don't evolve. So if you stand still, it means you're going to set back because the world is turning around.
Yeah, and you know, it's no, in life, no one stays still. You either move forwards, and if someone thinks they're staying still, they're actually going backwards.
I know.
It's something my dad said to me when I was a little boy, and it's something Coach Vic, who's also a Hothi, and I think he's trained with you in the past, Vic Hothi from Slough IMAS. It's something he says as well. So it's we have to learn, and we have to evolve, we have to move forward in everything, not just one particular thing, in everything.